Pals for Life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Pals for Life. Pals for Life is weekly radio for anyone who wants to enjoy World of Warcraft with some extra pals. We've got your commentary on news, rumors, and a special segment we like to call The Boss Fight. Today is November 9th, 2014. My name is Wilson, and I'm joined today by Randall.
What's going on, boys?
And girls. Lane.
Hey guys.
BlizzCon 2014 is just wrapped up this weekend, so we've got a very exciting show today. Our Spellbreaker topic is one that's a bit of a throwback, but very much enjoyed. This goes back to BlizzCon in 2010, I believe. Red Shirt Guy was a fan who was part of the Q&A panel for World of Warcraft at BlizzCon. He just asked a question that totally stumped Chris Metzen and David Kozak.
Oh yeah, he's an icon.
Anyway, yeah, he's an icon, and we're actually gonna play the audio for that now.
Hello. I just finished reading The Shattering yesterday.
Good man.
And I noticed something. It said that Falstad Wildhammer was going to be on the Council of Three Hammers, but in the beta it's Kurdran Wildhammer, and Falstad is not in the game at all. What happened to him?
Isn't Falstad dead? From Day of the Dragon? No?
No, he survived, and in fact, he was the leader of Airy Peak in Vanilla WoW through Wrath of the Lich King.
Right, of course. Right. Yeah, Alex, what's up with that?
Thanks for pointing that out. We're going to get that fixed.
Thank you.
Bet.
It's really great to just see how the developers react to, the rabid fans of this game.
Oh yeah.
You've asked a good question when they just say, we're going to fix that.
It's pretty good.
So anyway, we're going to hear back again from him a little later in the show. Moving on to the boss fight. This is a section of the show where Lane, who is not exactly a WoW player, right now at least, brings up a topic that we discuss as a show and kind of come to some unique resolution. So, Lane, what's your beef with WoW?
Alright, so today I'm going to preface it by saying this is totally my opinion because I know people are going to disagree with me heavily because, this topic talks about why WoW is so freaking popular. My beef with WoW is that it is so popular, and I think this deserves a little explanation because it's not actually that it's so popular. It's more or less that every freaking game out there tries to copy it, or did for quite some time. And that kind of derivatively goes back to World of Warcraft because it's so good and so popular. I freaking hate that because for a long time, all it was new games coming out with twists and turns on the WoW formula, and that's great. But it's the WoW formula, and that's not really what anybody wanted to see that at that point. And I think that's why so many of those games failed and/or didn't do that well. I mean, some of them did, some of them are still out there, but a lot of games failed for some stupid freaking reasons. And it haunts me occasionally. Like, what would SWTOR have been if WoW wasn't around? What would Rift have been if WoW didn't exist? No idea. What would Guild Wars have been if WoW didn't exist? I have no idea. Basically, these games, and they didn't steal anything outright from Blizzard or World of Warcraft. They just take the ideas and the concepts in WoW and try to, elaborate on them or change them in some way. And obviously, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Blizzard has made their company off of that essential concept, but Blizzard does exist, and WoW does exist, and they did a lot of things really, really right, and people are going to remember it forever for that sort of thing. So, I hate that WoW has essentially ground in to the WoW genre, to the MMO genre, its concepts and its designs so hard that games basically have to, or a lot of game developers felt like they had to copy it to be successful. So I thought this would be an interesting topic to discuss. So knock it out.
Okay, so, you use the word derivative. And that triggered my PTSD from my calculus class, so I'm going to have to ask you to refrain from using that word in the future. Back to the subject. I think I think I can actually kind of agree with you on this. When something does so well, like as WoW does, right? And, obviously because, they have a great format and they've made a good game, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when something like that does so well, it's so easy just to, like, borrow from it because that they have a good system and, try to spin off of it, and people recognize this and will obviously leech to it also because they knew they liked something similar to it. It's kind of like, right now everyone's doing, like, a lot of, like, the comic book hero movies and kind of grittier films, stuff like that, That's like all the hype in theaters right now. Just because, and it's a lot of it triggered just because, like, The Dark Knight was so good, right? Before The Dark Knight, I can't think of many, like, gritty comic book hero movies or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, that's like half of what you see in theaters. Everyone's talking about it, right?
Holy crap, Marvel just announced, like, another 8 films.
Yeah, there's gonna be a point when people get tired of that, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, that's just how things cycle in and out. So, actually, yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from on the subject. I mean, but at the same time, is there any better, like, would it have been better if WoW didn't exist, though?
Yeah, that's really my thinking.
I guess that's the ultimate question. I don't think I really have an answer for it. Of course, I really loved WoW, but, I guess, like, I can't say, like, oh, maybe there could have been another game if someone had a better original idea that hadn't been affected by WoW's, like, existence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's not to say good things haven't come out of this. These MMOs that I mentioned, they're great in all their own respects, and I've played a little bit of them here and there, and obviously not really delved super deep into it. But that is something. If you ever look at, I don't want to say a review because reviews for MMOs are a little bit out there. It's not really a thing. But when you get to talking about an MMO with someone else after WoW has come out, obviously, you say we're talking about SWTOR. So in that conversation, we're talking about World of Warcraft is going to come up. There's no way it's not. It's just so ingrained into how it is. And I mean, even if WoW didn't exist, I'm sure some game would be like this. Some game would have had to do it this right at some point.
And I mean, there was EverQuest, so I guess, per se, that could have been the popular one.
Yeah, EverQuest was the idea, and WoW was like the casting of that idea into this amazingly close to perfect mold, I guess. I don't want to call it perfect because it's always had its problems, and I mean, all games do, but it's so iconic, it's almost impossible to, get away from these days. And it's unfortunate if you think about it from this angle, but on the other hand, it's awesome because we've never had anything like this. 10 freaking years, man. That's so long. And it's because WoW is such a great game and so influential. But yeah. Wilson, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to let you guys finish your little heart-to-heart there. I mean, for me, I mean, obviously, and this is something that we talked about a little bit before the show, but, Blizzard has a history of kind of joining the fray in fights that have kind of gotten stale or haven't really, hit their complete mark yet. So when I say that, I mean, like, EverQuest was like this really interesting and new and like really great game for the time, but it had a lot of things about it that were really very exclusive to like a certain type of player. Like only somebody who was really dedicated to playing the game might really be able to enjoy EverQuest all the way. And so by opening up who the game targeted, with World of Warcraft by kind of latching onto a little more cartoon fantasy, I think it allowed WoW to have much more mass appeal and also just the kind of look as well as the feel.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing is that, there wasn't one that had done it like that before. So once they got the audience, they were going to stick around. And they had a lot of brand loyalty with Blizzard already too, right? Like,
yeah, I think it wouldn't be the same if any company other than Blizzard had done this. If like a complete upstart had done this, not quite as big as WoW's, in my mind at least. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing some other game would have kind of taken WoW's spot though. Like, let's say we're in like a Warlords of Draenor moment, and like no one plays WoW, as in they don't drink the blood of Manoroth. Then like Final Fantasy XI, perhaps would have risen to become this gargantuan like titan of the MMO sphere.
Yeah,
that would be my guess.
Some game has to take that place, in history. I feel like. Just kind of like Halo has semi-defined shooters, and that's not to say Halo is the most dominant shooter. There are a lot of very, very iconic shooters. But it's kind of that same thing. I mean, if Halo wasn't there, I mean, it would only be Call of Duty. Call of Duty is just as iconic. And I mean, if Call of Duty wasn't there, it would only be Battlefield. There is always going to be a game that does this, but I think this was almost a perfect storm. WoW and Blizzard and all that stuff.
It's funny you just brought up Call of Duty, and that's like a really good comparison in a lot of ways to World of Warcraft. Maybe, I would say it's definitely not as good as World of Warcraft in its like lasting appeal. Cause I know I don't have any interest in playing those games anymore. I mean, they're just drawn out the exact same thing and nothing changes. But that's a really good comparison for console side. And like a lot of people have, created a similar kind of structure. You have, different FPS games that come out. Like, there's like tons of different like ones now. Like, people, they still make the Medal of Honor games and like a whole bunch of other ones that no one even plays. And, a lot of just ones like, copying that formula and trying to kind of leech off of it.
Absolutely.
Titanfall, stuff like that.
And that's like the ultimate sadness of all this is that one guy has to be the big, bad or good guy. And in this case, it's Blizzard and World of Warcraft. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it's interesting to think about how things would have been different if WoW didn't exist and all these games weren't influenced by it. So, yeah, just a thought.
Yeah, and I mean, looking ahead, I think that, if we're even going to stick around with MMOs being as popular as, they were, 2 or 3 years ago, right? I mean, the whole sphere is shifting over to something less hardcore and more casual, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you guys have any thoughts on, anyone listening at least, besides the three of us idiots, have any thoughts on WoW and where it belongs in history and MMOs, any of that good stuff, feel free to shoot us an email. We're going to go ahead and move over to Tavern Talk. This is basically news and rumors heard from all over, but this week, Tavern Talk is all BlizzCon.
Yeah, it's
and we're normally
basically news and rumors heard from BlizzCon and nothing else.
And we are going to talk a little bit about stuff that's not WoW, just because, we are fans of Blizzard as well. So we're just going to hit the high points about stuff that's non-WoW, and then we're going to jump into WoW news and stick to that.
Cool.
So first on the list here is Blizzard has announced new IP. There's a whole new game franchise coming out, and it's called Overwatch.
Interesting, most interesting.
Very cool. Y'all should check it out.
I definitely mentioned Overwatch last week. I'd just like to point that out.
So, Lane, let me, because, I saw the cinematic trailer, and that was pretty cool. You guys should check that out as well. So it's an FPS, like a competitive FPS?
Yeah.
Team-based?
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's getting a lot of comparisons, and I've seen a lot of things thrown around, and I think I'll highlight a couple of these and why I think Overwatch actually has, potential. But first off, Team Fortress is its pretty much main comparison because it is a team-based multi-class shooter, essentially. But it is also getting not a lot, but some people are referencing it sort of as a MOBA because instead of doing it like Team Fortress does where everyone plays classes, it's more or less you're playing characters. And these characters that you play each have, not each, but they all have some sort of distinct role that they fill. And through that role, they help their team do whatever they're supposed to be doing. There's no creeps, there's nothing like that. But everybody has, like ultimate and a bunch of abilities that they use on the battlefield. And so this is really interesting to me because myself, personally, I was a big fan of Monday Night Combat, if you guys know what that is. And this feels kind of like a more FPS-focused Monday Night Combat, and I haven't played it, obviously, but that's what it looks like. And if it turns out like that at all, I will be super, super happy with it.
So, Overwatch, be on the lookout for that. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff you can check out now. There's gameplay you can check out, and there's cinematic trailers all on Battle.net. Heroes of the Storm is getting a beta in January and some new roster additions, including the Lost Vikings as one hero. So all three of them, you can play as all three of them, and they're going to be the first insane difficulty champion or hero, I guess, in the game. So that's interesting.
So do you play all three of them at the same time? Is it one of those kind of things?
They're controllable individually. They're controllable as a group.
So it's like you're playing like StarCraft inside of the game.
Yeah, you're playing three champions. That'd be why it's insanely difficult.
Here's a quote from lead game producer is K.O. Milker is, the real way to play them is to control them independently. So, yeah, it's micro.
Funsies.
Yeah, that sounds like not something I would do.
Oh boy. And so Diablo got a little bit of attention as well. Basically, Reaper of Souls is going to be here for a while. It's receiving a lot of little updates and attention. We're moving into Season 2. There are going to be some new treasure goblins, like different types that are going to drop gems and other stuff like that. Basically, just Diablo 3, they want to ride out Reaper of Souls for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking at the latest we'll probably get another expansion announcement next year at BlizzCon, I think at the latest.
I would almost say before that even, really.
Yeah, I'm
surprised we didn't hear one, really.
Yeah, me too. But, I mean, the only reason I don't say before that is because I wouldn't think they would mention that it's going to be sitting around for a while if, they weren't really intending on, letting it sit around for a while. So, it is to be seen.
Yeah, right. So StarCraft 2, we've got a Legacy of the Void, the third and final expansion. There's a trailer out. There's called Oblivion, I believe, and there's also some news that it's going to be available as a standalone title, so you can buy it and not have to buy the other two.
I can't help but get super hyped when I watch this. I mean, it's out of my realm of gaming these days, StarCraft, because I'm terrible at RTSs. But we had some good freaking times on StarCraft 2. Us specifically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and by good times I mean you guys being dead tired. But anyway, I love StarCraft, and I really like the way they've managed the story in this little trilogy, and I'm excited to see how it ends. So, as dumb as that sounds, I'm actually really excited for the story.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say this might be the last StarCraft entry for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, for quite a while, possibly.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited too, and Justin, Lane same boat. I am not good at that game also, I would be a lot more interested if more people were bad at it like me.
It only seems like you're getting matched against people who are better than you, right?
Yeah. Like a Copper League?
Yeah,
yes.
all the time.
Like Wood League, let's go.
Like you can get kicked, it's like you get kicked out if you're too good, pretty much?
Yeah.
Yes. What game did I hear about that in? I heard about that in some game. That does pique my curiosity. There was speaking of Call of Duty, I think there was something about Call of Duty where you get kicked out if you're too good in the lobby you're in. I don't know why. That randomly came to my mind, but I thought that was crazy. So anyway.
Huh. Okay. So, Hearthstone is getting an expansion. It's called Goblins and Gnomes. Goblins and Gnomes. And it's an expansion. It's not an adventure pack, whereas Noxramas was like an adventure pack that you could buy, which is a little different. This is a full-on expansion, so it's going to have 120 new cards. There's a cool trailer out, just a cinematic trailer. Randall, what do you think about this?
I think everybody knows I like gnomes. I mean, I'm severely trying to contain my enjoyment right now. I don't want to break my mic.
I can hear it in your voice.
And I don't want to break the ears of our listeners, so I'm just going to say that I'm ready for this. My body is ready, and the only thing I'm more excited for is Warlords of Draenor. So, yeah.
Nice. So I guess your first response may have been no MG. Is that too far?
Oh God.
I'm not as excited anymore, honestly. Not as excited anymore.
Anyway, short jokes like that aside, we're moving over to WoW news. The first thing is Warcraft movie. We got a little more attention on that. If you guys didn't know, it is going to be in 3D, and it's going to be happening March 2016.
Now they're shooting it live action. It's going to be crazy.
It could be. I mean 3D for 3D glasses. I think. They're using real people.
I'm totally kidding. That would just be really interesting to see if they could even pull something like that off.
Well, the cinematography team would be up for the challenge, I'm sure.
Yeah. WoW loves making, or Blizzard loves making stuff like that, so I'm sure they'd be good on it.
So we're going to give you a little background info on the WoW movie, or the Warcraft movie, not WoW. So Duncan Jones is the director of the film. Basically, Sam Raimi, who has Spider-Man fame, who's the director for one of those movies, and basically he dropped the film after at some point, and Duncan Jones has taken over. And basically, when he got the project, because it was underway, he felt like it was very human-centric, like it told the story of the humans a lot and didn't give much to the basically Horde side. And he wanted it to be 50-50 and kind of provide a story from both sides. So he really changed, hopefully, the direction of the movie for something a little more interesting.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great, yeah.
And he is also a huge Blizzard fan, so that's always nice. But we actually are going to check out, they did reveal some new cast members. So, obviously, not obviously, but you may have already heard that Dominique Cooper is going to be King Lane. But you guys have a list here of some of the other people they've introduced.
Yeah, we have Travis Fimmel playing Lothar. On the Alliance side, we already knew that Travis Fimmel had a role, but now we know that he'll play the protagonist for the Alliance, Lothar, a war hero who sacrifices everything to save Azeroth.
Ooh.
Lothar's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah,
Yep.
Good name. Sounds kind of orcish though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like it.
For like, he's a human, it's weird, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of like an earthy sounding name. It sounds
Yeah.
weird, but anyway. Next up on this list is Ben Foster, and I don't even know how to say that name. Medivh?
Yeah.
And he is Ben Foster is from the Messenger, Lone Survivor, things like that. And he's playing Medivh, who in games fiction opens the Dark Portal, allowing the Burning Legion into Azeroth. So, yeah, should be interesting.
Next up, we have Ben Schnetzer. He's from The Book Thief. He will play Khadgar, a young mage, and in the games, Medivh's apprentice.
If you guys didn't know.
If you didn't know.
Next up is Ruth Nega from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. primarily. She will be playing Lady Taria, the Queen of Stormwind.
Spoilers. RIP.
Aww.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Thanks, buddy.
Next up, we have Paula Patton from Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. She will play Garona, an orc who will have to decide where her loyalty lies. Huh, that's weird. In the article it says he. That's a bad typo.
Whoops. That doesn't look like a he, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
pretty attractive he. If I've ever seen one.
No.
Next up is Toby Kebbell. He's going to be playing Durotan. He is from things like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. He's going to play the protagonist on the Horde side, and this would be Durotan, obviously. He was the chieftain of the Frostwolf clan.
And Thrall's dad.
Woo! Big boy. Next up we have Rob Kaczynski from True Blood. He will play Ogrim, Durotan's right hand.
Q. Then we've got Clancy Brown from Starship Troopers and Shawshank Redemption. I've loved the movie Starship Troopers. It's crazy to even see this guy in the flesh again. So, yeah, he's going to be playing Black Hand, the Horde's greatest war chief.
Next up, we have Daniel Wu. He is from Europa Report, which I actually don't even know what that is. And he will play Gul'dan, an Orcish shaman and the first Orcish warlock in the game's fiction. So,
And that wraps it up.
Yep, and there's a quote here from Duncan Jones basically when they were asking basically Duncan Jones was saying the movie would have a lot of special effects, and he said it's going to be Avatar and Lord of the Rings at the same time.
How about
good,
you don't get sick
bad.
from all of it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, with a grain of salt, that's how I would take that.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
So anyway, hopefully you guys are maybe familiar with some of these actors and actresses, and if not, I'm sure the movie's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's an upcoming purchasable ram pet called Argy, who you can buy in the Blizzard store, and anyone who buys this pet, the proceeds will go to Ebola efforts in West Africa through the American Red Cross.
Yeah, that thing's
That's
freaking
good.
adorable. Buy it.
Red Cross does 100% donations, right? Like
Yeah.
100% nonprofit.
Red Cross is that kind of.
Yeah. You have to be
Thanks.
careful with those, dude. Some of them are like 20% goes to donations and the rest is like for profit. You know what
If
I mean?
you ever donate to anything, make sure you check online first. There
Yeah.
are websites out there that do specific research and reports on, how much percentage of what you donate actually goes to what you're donating for. So, yeah, when you donate, check up on it.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Definitely. And just a little history here. Last year, you could buy the Alterac Brew Pup pet for $10, and half of that went to Make-A-Wish. So Blizzard's, got a bit of a track record doing this.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I mean, I personally really like it when games do stuff like this because games, I mean, you're looking to buy stuff like this in games half the time now anyway. Why not do it towards a good cause at some point? It's nice. I like it.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. And so we're going to move over to basically kind of some of my favorite picks from the BlizzCon Q&A that happened on the World of Warcraft panel. And I'll probably just take one, and then maybe you guys can see what's next here. But the first question that was great is, when can we craft and cook our own bacon? This was followed by really big applause, and then the answer was, I think it's a damn good idea.
We can make it happen. We have the technology.
And the crowd just begins to chant bacon, so that was amazing.
Good stuff.
There's another question here that has, will we ever see anything like the Gates of Encourage again? So, AQ is this huge, kind of very interesting, basically who could do this content first type thing and brought the server together. And the answer is, we're interested in content that brings servers together without ruining the experience for everyone by crashing the server. It's cool, and it would be something we'd like to do again.
Yeah.
It's really good. That I've heard about that even outside of this podcast, so yeah, probably a good idea for them to do that again.
Yeah, I hear, me and Wilson didn't really play in AQ. I mean, we played when AQ was around, but we were, level 20 or something. So, I heard it was a pretty religious experience, so.
Oh boy. So, we also heard from the red shirt guy, right?
Yep. Looks like it. He actually asked if, Farhan? Okay.
Farhan.
My bad. Farhan was mentioned. He asked why we hadn't seen it yet. And the answer to that was, there's a mission where you can send your followers to go find it. It's something I would love to see, which is why it was in our original plans. We don't know for sure if we're going to get it in a content patch. We'll have to see. It's definitely something we'd love to be able to do. We survived Red Shirt Guy. We can retire now. Hallelujah. He actually asked something that didn't kill them. Does he, all the years, has he asked something that murdered them?
He's usually it's usually a pretty good question. It's always an inconsistency.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to make a compilation video at some point.
Oh, yes.
I bet there is one.
Probably. Maybe not most recent. You got to update it every year.
Yeah.
Exactly. But basically, Farallon is a zone that was mentioned for Warlords of Draenor that, it hasn't seen the light yet. So
Interesting. Okay. I never even heard about that.
Me either.
And we've got a question here about dailies.
Yeah, so in Warlords of Draenor, we are going to be without them. And the reasoning for this is that we're going to mostly be about garrisons. It says that they do have 2 daily quests that will present themselves every day, but I think that's also in tune with the garrisons. Dailies won't be as they were, I guess.
So there's still some dailies.
Yeah, there's still some dailies, but it's kind of it's not like how it was, you have your dailies kind of per zone and you run all over Azeroth or wherever you are, gathering them and doing 20 different quests and turning them in at the end of the day kind of thing.
Right.
It's really cool. That's, I think, even though I've not really experienced with dailies, I think that's pretty integral in making garrisons a long-lasting thing. If it makes you use the garrison to do things that are giving you things to do every day, it will definitely help them.
Yeah, and I hope it seems like it's going to be a better implemented system than the daily action you saw on the farm.
Yeah. God.
So the last question we have here is, give me a way to have different transmogs for different specs. So, everybody bootstraps their own way of implementing transmog gear, right? You pull it out of the bank and then you keep it in your bags. But basically, we do plan to revamp the way transmog works right now, and basically they want to kind of create a system of collections to collect armor and stuff, but they're going to keep that in mind as they design it. That's what they said. So yeah, it would be nice to make transmogging easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's everything that's in my bank right now. So.
And especially, if you're like me, when you're leveling up during the expansion, you're going to have to go back to transmogging every level or two just to make sure that you keep looking good as you're leveling up, right?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was thinking. What are we, brothers?
No way.
Last thing we've got here is just a note about the WoW documentary, Looking for Group. It's a WoW documentary that just came out, and it's been in the making for a little bit, but it's really interesting. I have only watched about the first half hour of it. I need to finish it a little later, but it's pretty good so far. I like it.
I've watched about 10 to 15 minutes of it so far, and the thing we were talking about, how Blizzard seems to come in a little late and then perfect something, or perfect it to their standards. 5 minutes into this frickin' documentary, they are detailing in full how they know that's exactly what Blizzard does. They're like, we know we come in a little bit late, get these ideas, and then just go to town on something. That's what we're good at, and that's what we know we like to do. Great.
Well, it's funny. Wilson said he watched 30 minutes. Lane said he watched 15 minutes. I have watched exactly 0 minutes. but it does look interesting, so maybe I'll check it out.
Wow.
I would definitely recommend it. We're actually going to move over to what we call a special one, maybe 2 or 3 more time segment in the history of our show, and it's going to be called Expansion Boot Camp. So, Randall, you're going to kick us off here.
Some people, they talk about, getting ready for the zombie apocalypse. We talk about getting ready for the expansion. All right? That's what we're here to do today. And each one of us is going to give you a few tips to make it through unscathed. All right, guys? We're going to make it through one step at a time, and we're all going to be healthy and fine when it's all over with.
Hopefully.
So, for me, one of the biggest tips that I think you can have to get the best out of this experience and to make sure everyone is having a good time is, play with a group of friends if you can. I mean, there's nothing better than hitting an expansion hard with a group of friends, especially if you're on a PvP server so y'all can run stuff, right? You want to make sure y'all are the top dogs and everyone knows their place. So you need your little posse, and you need to make sure people are giving you everything that you want. So that's my first tip. Next thing, is I would definitely recommend having, some kind of caffeinated drink. Keep you peppy. Make sure you're not missing some of those quest objectives. Not lagging behind any of your fellow teammates. Not getting ganked because you're not paying attention. That kind of thing. So anything caffeinated would do. I like Dr. Pepper. I'm not a big energy drink fan. But, whatever's your forte, you can kind of have. I'm not your parent, so you can do whatever you want to. And I assume a lot of you are adults also, so you don't even need your parents' permission anyway. And, also, maybe like a bag of chips. I like hot Cheetos. Who knows what you like? Maybe you want something healthier. You could get nuts or anything like that you like. So yeah, that's about all I have for it, guys. How are y'all going to help them save themselves in the expansion?
Well, I've got a personal preference one. I use this program called Flux or Flux, whichever you'd like to call it. You just type in Flux, Flux, into Google, you'll find it. What this program does is it turns down the blue light on your computer. By blue light, it's pretty much the white light in your computer. It dulls the colors down a little bit without, affecting very badly the vibrance of colors. This basically just takes the intensity down to where it doesn't mess with your eyes so much. I'm using it on my freaking computer right now. I love it so much. It makes it to where I can actually stand looking at white screens for more than 5 minutes. It's great. And I don't really have any sensitive eyes or anything like that. No special eyes or anything. It's just really nice to be able to look at your computer for extended periods of time. And during gaming, obviously very important. So check that out. Other things, you're going to want to make sure that you're in an optimal environment for yourself. Get super comfy, sit down, take a load off, get ready to raid or do whatever you're going to do. Get in your zone. I think that's the important thing. Really make an effort to put yourself in your optimal zone, because that's how I like to take in new experiences, anything that I'm getting on console or PC or anything like that. My girlfriend is in the other room. My door is shut. My lights are off. I am 100% focused on that, and we go. And not to say anything bad about my girlfriend. I love her, but yeah, that's just how I like to do it. Make sure you're in your zone, because it's always the best when you're in that zone.
Lane's definitely in his zone.
In my zone.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, we all know expansion's coming out on Thursday. You're not going to be getting much sleep. Make sure you get some sleep storage. Sleep well in the days between now and Thursday, so that you can go for as long as possible and punish your body, because, I mean, that's what's happening here. So you want to be able to recover from that or have some sort of buffer.
I mean, get that RL rested XP, right? And that's exactly what that is.
Oh, yes.
Nice. Exactly. And you want to, obviously, stand up every once in a while. So if it's cutscene, loading screen, or if you get a flight path, because we are going to be flying a little bit, make sure you stand up so that way you're getting some circulation going, and also so your feet don't get cold. Okay. I guess the other thing is just make sure you're drinking some water. Even if you're not going to be snacking a lot, just drinking water while you're playing is going to, one might make you run to the bathroom, but that's okay, because you need to get your body moving every once in a while. And yeah, I mean, I think my other thing is I just would like to, some of my favorite snacks, I like having almonds while I'm playing. It's a little easy on the hands. It's not, it's a little easier to pound some of those than like some Cheetos and get your keyboard dirty. Although if you like a dirty keyboard, there's nothing like Cheetos or Doritos. The other thing is, green tea is a great option if you don't want to make coffee, because it's a little less dehydrating than coffee and still provides, if not a little more, than the caffeine boost you get from coffee.
Oh yeah.
what I like to do is make black tea and put a little milk in it and sugar in it, and it's just nice.
Dude, you and Des would get along so well. She loves that stuff so much.
It's good, man. Give it a shot. So, and it's also nice because it's warm and it keeps your hands warm. My hands always get really cold when I play, so that's why I like it as well.
And I totally realized I skipped over my snacks. So, reverse for a sec, and we're here. I am going to have to suggest, oh God, what are they called? Hold on. I have one in my bag here. Hold on.
Oh no.
Hold on.
The serious
This
snack.
thing.
He's already has it.
It's a freaking oats and chocolate fiber one bar. It's the best thing I've ever tasted in my life. It's so good. I eat these things like they're crack. It's amazing. And it's a chewy bar, kind of, like a chewy bar. And so it lasts you a little bit longer than your typical, chip snack. And it'll also fill you up a little more. If you're drinking water or whatever in between this thing will keep you not necessarily sitting down. It'll keep you filled up for a little bit longer and a little more energized. My drink of choice is 100% always sweet tea. No exceptions.
Well, what kind of sweet tea though, Lane?
I prefer Arizona sweet tea, to be honest. It's cheap
What?
and it's tasty. There are better things.
When did your opinion change on sweet tea?
No, Sweet Leaf is awesome, because I know that's what you're talking about. Sweet Leaf is my baby, but Sweet Leaf costs $1.75 a pop.
Well, guys, my life's a lie right now, because Lane just said that he preferred something over Sweet Leaf. That has never happened.
Sweet Leaf's amazing, dude. Sweet Leaf costs $1.75 a bottle. That is a pretty penny when I could buy something that has 2 times the amount in it for half the price.
Lane, I'm not okay right now. All right, dude. Let's just drop it.
All right, we're all going to come together here and just close out the boot camp. I'm sure you guys hopefully got a little something out of it. But the one thing we can all come together on is that World of Warcraft is coming out, and we all want to be able to play, hopefully for as long as possible. And the other thing is request time off of work if you haven't already.
Exactly.
We're going to move over to Trade Chat. This is a section of the show where we hear from you, the audience. And before we do that, I just want to pitch our guild. We have a guild for the podcast, and it's called PFL, and it's live on Emerald Dream on the Alliance side. We're all going to be getting on to play for the launch, so if you guys want to join us during our questing party, just look up our battle tags that are in the show notes, and we can play together. We heard from Mac Burney last week, who is a level 90 Dwarf Hunter on Icecrown, US, and I just wanted to give him a shout-out. Really appreciate you reaching out to us on the show, and we appreciate your listenership. Rhymebomb, who we heard from last week, actually had a suggestion for us just to bleep everything out if we decide to do profanity. That way, everybody wins.
I think that's
Can
a
we
good
can
idea.
we do that even? Does it work that way?
I mean, I could probably make it bleep sound and see what we do.
But I mean,
heard
is that acceptable though? You know what I mean? Could we still get in trouble for that if it was too bad?
We will have to. I'll check with iTunes.
I'd say a moderate use with some very obvious bleeping. I think bleeping is funny in the right circumstances, so we could definitely try that.
When you say moderate use, you mean not what I normally do? That's what I'm hearing.
About a quarter of what you normally do.
Yeah,
maybe less.
Yeah. So another thing that Rhymebomb hit us up with is basically, we're going to be talking about World of Warcraft. That's going to be our number one priority. But are we going to be focusing on just new content, or are we going to set aside some time for retrospection? Basically, what I think we're going to be doing is we're going to focus on all the new content. We're probably going to change up our segments a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But I think we'd like to give kind of a soapbox moment so that way we can keep comparing WoW old and new. And if it gets boring, we'll drop it. But I think it'll be a great way to kind of, really take new content and give it a lens of, nostalgia plus, harsh reality.
Yeah.
2020.
And I mean, even if we don't directly have a segment for any nostalgia or anything like that, we'll bring it up just in chat anyway, I think. Especially me and Wilson. Because that's how I compare things, really, mostly. Anyway.
I mean, maybe it'd be even beneficial at some point to have a segment where we just talk about that for, a specific set amount of time and just cut it off. So,
yeah,
you could do something like that.
Because soapbox moments, should only last so long.
Yeah, if we could actually just time that for 5 minutes, and then whatever happens in that 5 minutes is what happens, that'd be
interesting. We'll throw it around the
we'll work with
boiling pot.
So we want to make sure that everyone who listens to the show, even if you're new or an old player, has reason to listen and hopefully a way to stay involved.
Or even if you don't play World of Warcraft, like me.
Yeah.
So that's right. We'll see about that next week. The last thing we want to do is just give a great salute to Trevor, Trevorius Maximus, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix Legions, and loyal servant of the true King Magni. Trevor is our oldest fan and is a great friend of the show, so we like hearing from him, and hopefully we'll be hearing from him as the expansion comes out.
Yep, that'd be great.
Sure.
Keep it coming, Trevs.
Thanks for the group, and thanks for tuning in this week. Please feel free to shoot us any questions, complaints, or screenshots of you on your time-lost proto-drake in Draenor to pals@palsforlife.net. And to listen to any of our previous episodes, check out our website, palsforlife.net. And of course, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and anywhere else podcasts are found. Until next time, this has been Pals for Life.
Later.
Peace. Don't stay up too late.
Yeah, that's bad for you.
Not good.
And we're done.
We're clear.
Yeah.
Dude, that dismantled the entire call, Wilson.
The fabric of the very universe was torn apart.
Dominique
Coupow.
Dominique Coupow.
I don't know if that's it, but...
And that triggered my PTSD from my calculus class, so I'm going to have to ask you to refrain from using that word in the future. Back to the subject. After this call.
Leroy Jenkins.
Alright guys, ready to get started? We got him roll.
Roll?
We've got him roll.
Alright.
I don't know, I'm gonna call him right now. Because we need to get this
Road on the show.
show on the...
I was thinking road on the show, but okay.
show on the road's gotta be the accepted phrase
Road
here.
on the show.
So, let's talk logistics for next week. Lane?
But in the beta, it's Kurdrin Wildhammer, and Falstad is not in the game at all. What happened to him?